Before Kix and Ronnie return to share the impressive accolades of our modern era artists, I'd like to share a few details surrounding this year's election process. As usual, nominations are made in the fall of 2023, and the first ballot was sent to the voters before the holiday, with the final ballot closing on Friday, February the 2nd. Our professional services partners at Deloitte released the results to us just a few days later. This year, we anticipated receiving the names of our final inductees on Tuesday, February the 6th. As we know now, we woke up that morning to the heartbreaking news that our friend Toby Keith had lost his long battle with stomach cancer. What's bittersweet is just that a few hours later, our team received word from Deloitte that he'd been elected in the modern era category. Truly, one of the greatest honors of my job is getting to inform these inductees that they're the newest members of the hallowed class. My heart sank that Tuesday afternoon, knowing that we missed the chance to inform Toby while he was still with us. But I have no doubt that he's smiling down on us, knowing that he will always be, quote, as good as he once was. I should mention that while the rules of election do not allow someone to be elected into the Country Music Hall of Fame in the year in which they pass away, that doesn't apply this year, as Toby was selected before he died. Selection into the Country Music Hall of Fame is not just about celebrating at the induction ceremony or lifting a glass today to celebrate the announcement. It's about the music, the artistry, and the legacy of these artists and these individuals being remembered for the ages. All three of our inductees are certainly deserving of that honor today. Congratulations, big guy. I now welcome back Kix and Ronnie to help us recap the remarkable Hall of Fame career of our modern era inductee, Toby Keith.
And this is a good one. Few artists have had bigger careers than Toby Keith. Outspoken and self-confident, sure was. Keith knew what he had, even when others didn't recognize it. Every time someone undervalued him or sold him short, he turned the slide into motivation and creative fuel for a career that ranks with country's greatest. Born July 8, 1961, Toby Keith Cavell grew up in the suburbs of Oklahoma City, the son of a second-generation oil field roughneck. Young Keith admired artists who could also write their own songs, whether in country, rock, or soul. As he began writing his own, he figured if he could make it as a singer, the songs were good enough to get cuts. Soon, Mercury Records in Nashville head Harold Shedd heard about Keith and traveled to Oklahoma City to see him on his home turf. Shedd signed Keith to Mercury the next day, and three of his first four singles were the chart-topping Should Have Been a Cowboy, as well as He Ain't Worth Listening, or He Ain't Worth Missing, sorry. Wish I Didn't Know Now. Both went top 5. Should Have Been a Cowboy gave Keith a #1 out of the gate, and his first 20 number one spanning 4 decades. Among country acts, only Merle Haggard and Alan Jackson have written more of their own #1 hits, and if Toby were here, he'd tell you that. After parting ways with Mercury, he took his next album down the street to the recently launched DreamWorks, which was run by his producer, James Stroud. The album's first single, How Do You Like Me Now, spent 5 weeks at #1, becoming Keith's biggest record to date. Another song, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, The Angry American, was written as motivation for members of the U.S. military invading Afghanistan after the September 11th terrorist attacks. Many people tried to portray him as one-dimensional, and he wasn't. We know, we've been on the road with him, right? But anyone who knew Keith knew he wouldn't be limited to that. Keith didn't write so much about politics as he wrote about communities. He found in the military and in bars and bands that traveled the highways together. He performed on 11 USO tours, playing more than 200 shows for members of the U.S. Armed Forces. In 2005, Keith launched his own label, Show Dog Records, and pursued his musical vision there for the rest of his life. Keith nearly missed his induction into the Oklahoma Hall of Fame in 2007 when his son's football team, which he coached, took their championship game into multiple overtimes. He went into the New York-based All-Genre Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2015, and the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2021. Keith also received the National Medal of the Arts in 2020 and the BMI Icon Award in 2022, among several other industry awards and honors. Keith was diagnosed with stomach cancer in 2021 and died a few weeks ago on February 5th at the age of 62. The man who once sang that, he dreamed about living in your radio, has found a permanent home in the Hall of Fame Rotunda. To accept this honor on behalf of Toby, please join with me in welcoming his son, Stellan Corvell, to the stage. Steven. Sorry.
Thank you all. On behalf of my whole family, we want to thank the Hall of Fame. It's an honor to stand here and represent my father. He's an amazing man, husband, father, and artist. And I just want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you.